shall inherit this earth. And no one will know my name until it's on a stone. Oh, this could be your lucky day in hell. Never know who it might be at your doorbell.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Alan's Horror World. My name is Alan. Of course, you guys already know that. I need to explain myself, don't I? Before I do, please ignore the background noise. My cats are going crazy in the other room. And as you saw in my live stream a few days ago, I don't like them being in my room when I film videos because they like to be destructive. So now let me explain myself. I know I haven't done a Scream review in the past 2 months, and I apologize for that. I got lazy once again. I'm just gonna admit it. I got lazy and I just didn't feel like doing reviews. I just wanted to upload gameplay videos for like Dead by Daylight stuff. Also ignore the really bright glare on this laptop. I don't know what the heck happened there, so please ignore that. I'm praying to God you'll ignore that. But yeah, I just wanted to upload gameplay videos. School has gotten busier. I'm graduating in about a month and a half. Yay! And I've also been focused on college and like just like figuring out what I'm gonna do and all that stuff. But I just figured, why the heck not? I'm gonna sit down and finish this franchise. Because next week I'm going on vacation. I leave Friday. And I want to just get the franchise done before then. That's probably not going to happen, but it's worth an effort. Worth a shot. If not, it will most certainly be done by next week. So now, after 2 months, almost 3 months, we're finally going to review the second installment of this franchise for a second time. Scream 2. So Scream 2 stars Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courteney Cox, Elise Neal, Timothy Oliphant, Jerry O'Connell, Portia de Rossi, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Rebecca Gayheart, and is directed by Wes Craven. This movie was released just less than a year after the original. Still can't believe that happened. And it went through a really troubled production. Kind of like with rewrites and reshoots. And the same thing happened for Scream 3. Just great. Sidney Prescott and tabloid reporter Gale Weathers survived the events of the first Scream, but their nightmare isn't over. When 2 college students are murdered at a sneak preview of Stab, a movie based on the events from the first film, it's clear a copycat killer is on the loose. Sidney and Gale, as well as fellow survivors Dewey Riley and Randy Meeks, have to find out who is behind this new murder spree before they all end up dead. So, like I said, yeah, this movie was released just less than a year after the original film, and I'm pretty sure it went into production when the first movie was not even finished in theaters. Yeah, this is a tough one to talk about when it comes to production problems. There were so many rewrites and so many reshoots that I can't even count. There were at points where the script was leaked online, so that's when they had to start rewriting, like, no, we can't give away who the killers are. Like, at one point, Derek was going to be the killer. Or, I don't even know if that's even true. Or Cece or Holly, they were probably going to be one of the killers. I'm pretty sure at one point, the sorority sisters, played by Rossi and Gayheart, they were going to be the killers. So, yeah, this is a really tough one to talk about, but we're not gonna get into that much longer. They still released this movie right around when Titanic was premiering. And hey, the guy who plays Gus in this movie played freaking Lovejoy in Titanic. There you go. Literally came out around the exact same time. Of course, Titanic was more successful. Should I review Titanic one day? I don't know. Should I? I probably won't, but let me know if I should review Titanic or any other James Cameron film. Need to review his Terminator movies. But yeah, this movie came out still. It was still a big hit. People still love this movie. And I'm going to go ahead and say, I do really like this one. This is actually a great film. But it's my least favorite. Yes, I know, this is my least favorite, and I am so sorry. But it's my opinion. I'm allowed to have an opinion. If you think this is the best sequel of the series, or heck, even the best Scream movie, that's fine. I don't mind. I really love this movie. I just don't love it as much as everyone else does. And this is surprising because this was on rewatch when other times I adored this movie to freaking pieces. I only have, I think, one big negative with this movie. Other than that, I think this movie is pretty dang good. So let's go ahead and get into the positives of the second installment. First off, Gale Weathers is my favorite part of this movie. Surprisingly, I really love Courteney Cox in this movie. I love Gale's character arc. She is literally the exact same person she was in the first movie. Snobby, arrogant, always getting what she wants apparently when it comes to the journalist career that she has. But over the course of the movie, she becomes more human. She's still Gale Weathers, and I still see that about her, but I see more of the person rather than the journalist, if you get what I mean. And Courteney Cox really delivers that very well in her performance. She probably gives the best performance of the entire movie. I love Gale in this movie more than I ever thought I would. And I would continue to like her from this point onward. Besides maybe Scream 4, because Scream 4, she literally just went back to Scream 1 Gale again. And I'm like, why? But this one, she was a lot more human. And she delivered a lot more emotion than I thought she could. And I overall just really like Gale in this movie. So that's a big plus for me. Second, the opening of this movie is utterly fantastic. But it's not as good as the opening in the original. And, well, I'm not going to say spoilers. But also not as good as the opening of Scream 5. This is like my third favorite opening of the series. But this is still a great intro to a Scream movie. Yes, before I talk about this scene, I am well aware of what happened at the Oscars. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock across the friggin' face because Chris Rock made a pretty distasteful comment about Jada Pinkett Smith and her having alopecia. I am well aware of that, and I'm also well aware of the toxic marriage between Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. But I am going to bring up Jada because she is in this movie. I'm going to bring her up. So, bear with me. To be honest, in my honest opinion, I think they were both in the wrong. Chris should not have said that. I know he's a comedian, and I know he roasts people, but he still shouldn't have said that if he knew that she had alopecia. If he didn't know, then I'm pretty sure it was just a mistake. But if he did know, he shouldn't have said that. But Will should not have embarrassed himself in front of millions of people by slapping him in the face on live TV. What the heck, Will? I lost respect for you after that. But in regards of this movie, I really like the opening. I like Jada's character of Maureen. I like her, and I like Omar Epps as Phil. They have some pretty solid chemistry, and I think this was right around when Jada and Will got married, but I still really like their chemistry in this opening. Maureen is kind of like Randy, but like not really. She's more sassy than Randy is, and she is also self-aware, but then she just sits there when Ghostface is sitting right next to her, and then she just sees the knife and screams instead of just backing the heck up and running away. Why would you just, well, then again, if you're paralyzed with fear, I understand. Her performance is actually very good in this movie. Like, she went all out for this opening. Like, she went all out with her performance in this opening, and I have to give mad props to her for that. She literally lets out, like, one of the, like, most epic death cries ever, and it's really good. The score by Marco Beltrami in this opening is fantastic. Really enjoy that. And I just love that the movie Stab, the opening of Stab is literally shot for shot the opening of Scream. And I like that. And I like that Heather Graham played Casey. And that was great. And like Stab in general, like I like some of the cast members that they brought along for Stab. Or like Scream, like 0.5 basically. Like a B-movie version of Scream with like Tori Spelling as Sidney, Luke Wilson as Billy, David Schwimmer as Dewey, Jennifer Jolie, who we'll get to in Scream 3 as Gale, Heather Graham as Casey, and eventually, as it's revealed in Scream 5, Alicia Silverstone played Tatum, and Vince Vaughn played Stu. And he would go on to play Norman Bates in the remake of Psycho, a movie that we will not talk about probably ever. So do not ask me to review that movie. It's literally the same as the original. I haven't seen it, and I probably never want to see it. Don't ask me to review that movie. If you want me to review the original Psycho, I will one of these days. I have done it on the channel, but it's been so long since I've done that, so please don't ask me to review the remake. That's all I ask. Just don't. I did originally have 2 more positives, but I'm just going to combine them into one. I was going to talk about Neve Campbell and David Arquette separately with their performances, but like, we're just going to talk about the acting across the board in this movie. The acting is pretty great in this movie. Like, it's not phenomenal or anything, but like, for a Wes Craven Scream movie, like, it's great. This is great acting at its best. Neve Campbell portrays a version of Sidney who is trying to move on from all the crap that she's been through, but she also has a feeling something like this is going to happen again, and it does. Really like it. She is really broken, traumatized and stuff, but she still comes into her own in the 3rd act and defeats the killers. And Dewey, it's Dewey. Dewey is Dewey in this movie, just like always. For the first 4 films, he is just Dewey. But I still love him in this film. He's Dewey, but I still love the guy. It's Dewey. But he's a lot sassier in this one. Really talking Gale down. He does that a lot in these movies. Like page 41. Deputy Dewey filled the room with his Barney Fife-ish presence. I think that was page 32. Messed up. Whatever. Okay, let me correct that. Page 41. Deputy Dewey oozed with inexperience. I should cut that out of the video. No, maybe I want to keep it in. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it in. That's great. Next, I love the set pieces, the chase scenes, and the kill scenes we get in this movie. I love, like I said, the opening Cece's death scene, the chase with Gale in the soundproof room. Like, that was a really suspenseful scene. And of course, my favorite, the scene where Sidney and Hallie are in the car with the detectives, and Ghostface gets them, and they have to get out of the car while Ghostface is knocked out in the front seat. And it is a suspenseful scene. Really hate that Hallie died because she was stupid and just didn't stay with Sidney. But I still really love that scene. Like, that's all I really need to say here. The set pieces of this movie are pretty freaking great. You know I say freaking a lot. You should count how many times I say it in this video. Go ahead, do it. Go ahead and do it. I don't care. But I really love those scenes. My favorite, of course, is the car scene. It's one of my favorite scenes of the franchise. And overall, I just really love it. So, there you go. Next up, I like the last 5 minutes of this movie quite a bit, actually. I'm perfectly fine with Dewey living in this one. I know a lot of people complained. They were like, I hate that Dewey lived again. I'm fine with it. I am okay with it. And then he would live in the 3rd film. Then in the 4th film. And then in the... Oh, wait, he didn't live in the 5th one. I forgot about that. Dang it. And finally, my final positive, I love the reveals of the killers that we get at the end of this movie. Now, upon rewatch, it is incredibly friggin' obvious that Mickey was one of the killers. To be honest, in my complete and honest opinion, Mickey is my favorite Ghostface. I know, very unpopular opinion, but Mickey is my favorite Ghostface. Billy and Stu right behind him, but I love Mickey. Timothy Olyphant is so campy in this role, and he is so great. He literally acts like a deranged serial killer would act, and I like that. And I actually like his motivation. He just wants to blame it on the movies. He just wants to kill people. It's implied that he has killed people before Windsor. He just wants to kill people. And he's blaming it on the movies. He just wants to get famous because of these murders and blame it on the movies. He wants to get caught, and I like that. Debbie Salt, however, still blows my mind that she was one of the killers. Now, on rewatch, yes, it's obvious. You can see all the clues. But the fact that she was Billy Loomis's mom, that set me for a roll. I was like, what? I was like, are you serious? Like, Pamela Voorhees. This is literally Pamela Voorhees style revenge. That's the motive. She wants revenge because Sidney killed her son, even though her son killed several people over the past 2 years. You still gonna get revenge for him? Even though he was a serial killer and now you're a serial killer? I don't get it. But I still love the reveals anyway. There were some of the best reveals of the entire franchise to me. Now moving on to the mixed elements, which I have two. I have two mixed aspects of this movie. One, most of the new characters are redundant. And they're not that, well, they're memorable, but they don't really serve a purpose except to get killed. And that kind of disappoints me. Because I love the characters in the first movie. But the ones in this one, I'm just like, what purpose did they serve other than to die? But, like, I still like them. I really like them. But, like, it seemed like they were just introduced because they're going to be Ghostface victims. Or one is going to be the killer. Or the other is going to be the killer. That's literally all we get. We get the most focus on Sidney, Dewey, and Gale. Mostly Dewey and Gale. Sidney is kind of in the background for the middle chunk of this movie, surprisingly. But Derek, I like him. He's a good boyfriend to Sidney. And yes, I like the cafeteria scene. So don't get on me about that. Like, I know a lot of people hate the cafeteria scene. I like it. I'm sorry. I like the scene. But like, he's still a redundant character. Holly, I think, is the most entertaining of the new characters. Because she's at least a good friend to Sidney, but she's still a knockoff Tatum Riley. Like, no, you will never be able to recreate Tatum. I'm sorry. I don't know. Most of the new characters were redundant, but Cotton Weary's an exception. I actually do like Cotton Weary. Liev Schreiber is really good in the role, but I don't know. He's just not in the movie enough, and I wish he was in the movie more, and I wish he was in Scream 3 a lot more, but they're like, no, we gotta kill Cotton in the opening. I still don't understand why they did that. And next, Randy's death. Although I respect Wes and Kevin for having the balls to kill one of the fan favorite characters of the franchise, I think the franchise hurts without his presence being there. Like, I love the rest of these movies, but every time I watch them, like, there's just something missing. And I feel like it's Randy's presence. Now, they did bring him back for, like, that video scene in Scream 3, which I really loved. But, like, him actually being there and assisting Sidney and the others to try to hunt down Ghostface, it's not there. It's not there, and that kind of makes me sad. But I am not one of the toxic fans who will never get over his death. I got over it a long time ago. I watched these movies when I was 10. I got over it pretty darn quickly. Randy's dead. I can accept that. We can at least go to his niece and nephew now, so that's great. Finally, on to my one negative of this movie. This negative brings Scream 2 down to being the worst one for me. Well, I wouldn't say worst, the least great of all 5 films. The second act of this film is ungodly freaking boring. Besides the theater scene and Randy's death, almost nothing happens throughout the course of the second act of this film. Literally, on rewatch a few months ago, before I went to go see the 5th one, I literally had to skip through the second act. It was that boring. Like I said, there are a few scenes that are an exception. Like the scene where Dewey and Randy are talking in the cafe, the stage scene, and Randy's death. Every other scene in the second act, which I believe is too freaking long, is boring. This movie is 2 hours. It did not need to be 2 hours. It's like Jason Takes Manhattan. It did not need to be 100 minutes long. It was too long for a Friday the 13th movie. This is too long for a Scream movie. Every other Scream movie is an hour 40, hour 50 minutes. This is 2 hours. You're not going to win an Oscar, Scream 2. You're not going to win an Oscar. I hate to break it to you, but you're not winning an Oscar. Why do you gotta be 2 hours long? You're not The Dark Knight. You will not be any superhero movie. You're Scream 2. Why are you 2 hours long? I will never understand. So overall, Scream 2, despite its troubled production, despite how rushed it was, and despite this being my least favorite of the series, I still love this movie. It's still a great installment of this franchise. Yes, the fact that the second act is boring brings it down to being my least favorite. But this is still a great film. It's still a great Scream movie. And it's a great Wes Craven movie. I love so many things about this movie. The set pieces, the opening, the performances, the kills, the killers. I really love those about this movie. Yes, Randy's death hurts the rest of this franchise. And he is sorely missed, but I can still get over his death. Unlike some fans who will never get over his death. And kind of like how they will never get over, spoiler, Dewey's death in Scream 5. They'll never get over it. I got over it. And I was heartbroken when he died. I still got over it. One of the main three needed to be killed off. And yes, some of the characters are not as memorable as they are in the first movie. And certainly not as memorable as one character that's going to be in Scream 3. And I can't wait to talk about Scream 3. I really can't wait. But overall, I still think this is a really good Scream movie. It's a really good movie. And it's a great Wes Craven movie. It's a great sequel. And I highly recommend this movie, especially if you want to do a marathon of all 5 films in the near future. But if you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend checking it out. I'm going to give Scream 2 an A-. So what do you guys think of Scream 2? Let me know in the comments below. Do you like this movie? Do you hate this movie? Are you in the middle? Or do you love this movie? Do you think it's the best of the franchise or the worst? Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. We can even have a debate about it if you want to. Go ahead. Yell at me for my unpopular opinion that I'm not the biggest fan of this movie. I love it, but I'm not the biggest fan. So anyways, guys, be looking forward to my reviews of Screams 3, 4, and 2022, or 5. I'm just going to say Scream 5. Yeah, just be looking forward to those reviews. Hopefully, I can get them done before vacation. And if I can, you will have a ranking next week. I promise. I actually promise this time. I swear to y'all, it's going to happen, okay? I need to get this video done. My phone is about to die. So anyways, please like and subscribe. We are getting close to 850 subscribers. I'm really excited. So leave a like and a comment below. And if you have not subscribed yet, click that red button and be notified for all of my latest videos because YouTube sometimes doesn't recommend. So anyways, guys, I guess that's pretty much it. So anyways, I'm Adeline. This is Adeline's Horror World. Of course, you guys already know that. I love all you guys to death. And until next time,